Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Tough Customs Garage YouTube channel. And today, big power for my 1980 Peterbilt 359. I've had this truck for a couple years now, and I bought it kind of as a project needing some work, about like everything else that I get. But it's got a big cam 400 in it, and my buddy Corey and I took the engine apart to find out that it needs to be rebuilt. So that was the plan. I actually looked into the kit, almost ordered it, but then something else came up and we used that money for something else we were up to. I don't even remember what it was. I think something associated with our house build. But I've been looking for other ways to make this truck happen. And another friend of mine owns a scrapyard, and basically he brought a bunch of crushed concrete and stuff that he was demoing off of a job, and kind of in trade for that favor, I got this. This is a big cam 400 platform. Basically, it's similar to a truck engine, but it's missing like an air compressor and some other things that you would have on a truck application. And in the truck application, you would have a 350 horse or a 400 horse, and that would be your normal horsepower rating. But since this is a generator, it's actually 465 horse rated at 1800 RPMs. So I've been talking to a guy about this engine, and he's thinking that it could make a ton of power. But I would probably be happy with about 500 horse. I have a set of Jake brakes that I can put on this thing off of a couple other engines. I could use the ones out of the truck, or I can use another set that I have on another parts engine. But another thing that I just recently worked out was a 13-speed transmission. So I'll have a 13-speed overdrive, as well as some big power from this engine. So I'm definitely excited about it. It's really clean. The engine itself only has about 1,200 hours. If you do 1,200 hours by, say, 50 miles an hour, that equals about 60,000 miles on this engine. So it should be a really, really good engine. The engine in the truck was actually a pretty good one as well, CPL wise, but since this one has the higher horsepower rating and it probably doesn't need to be rebuilt, I'm going to try to use this. So today I'm going to plan on getting some batteries and seeing if I can get it running. I think the fuel in it's good enough. It's got enough fuel filters on it that I can probably just use what fuel's still left in this thing. It's got a couple inches left in this big giant tank that it's sitting on. I wish the tank was full. That would sure be worth a whole bunch of money these days. So when I bought this truck, it had a dead miss. I just figured it was probably an injector problem. But then we pulled the engine apart. Let's see if I can get this somewhere you can see it. That's the head gasket. So quite literally a hole. So it was leaking compression straight out. This truck's pretty much like every other thing that I get. It was a logger special. Somebody beat on it in the woods. So all these 359s, with the exception of one that I've ever had, the hood's all busted up over here from it not sitting on the pins correctly. But I'm working on a deal where I'm hoping to get another breather, so I'd be able to cut this part out, and maybe that would help alleviate some of that and then just repair what's left. So I mentioned earlier that I have a trade worked out for a 13-speed transmission. So there's a guy that has a single axle 359, and he wants to have a toolbox made out of one fuel tank and then more fuel in the other one. So I'm going to trade him hangers and 2 tanks for that 13-speed overdrive. So I have some hangers, and then I'm going to get rid of these 2 tanks and just put a big tank on the passenger side. because I'm planning on putting a drop axle on this truck one day. So I'm going to clear up this space. But this thing's been sitting quite a while, so it's time to start making some progress on it. So let's see if we can get that engine to run. See what happens. Well, I brought the wrong batteries. I thought they were stud, but they're post. I think I could probably use one of the ones that I brought, but I'm going to get another one. All right, I'm back. I just got a post adapter instead of bringing another battery. If you ever need to adapt a stud type to a post, you can find these little things. They're like new old stock most of the time. I found some on eBay and bought a whole bunch of them. So you can thread that on and kind of convert a battery into whatever you need. Even though I do have a couple of 4 total post batteries I've been trying to restore, and I have about 3 of them brought back, and I'd really like to test them, but I already had these 2 batteries over here, so let's go with it. This thing is 24 volt, so I got to make sure I hook everything up right to get my power right. This generator's 300 kW, so I'm not exactly sure how many houses that would run, but you figure 50 or 60 kW for a house could run quite a few houses with this thing. And I'm going to check it to see if the generator actually produces power if I do get it to run. That way I could possibly maybe sell the generator portion and get some money back that way too. All right, we got the batteries hooked up. On these PT fuel pumps, there's just a little thumb screw that you can thread in to make it fuel, so you don't actually have to have voltage going to the solenoid to make the injection pump fuel. But to start with, I'm going to just see if I can get it to turn over with the starter. Let's go check out the other side. All right, so I rigged up a little jumper wire. This is hooked to the solenoid. So basically, if I send voltage to this, it should pull the starter in and make it turn the engine. I don't know why that starter's not wanting to turn. I barred the engine over a little to make sure that it'll actually turn. So I'm sticking a bar in here. Remember exactly how I had it. Well, I know I had it turning there the other day. Obviously, my leverage was not very happy where I had it there. So I know it should turn over. For some reason the starter's not wanting to turn it. Definitely throwing the Bendix out, but it's not trying to turn. Obviously something's not happy there. Because that turned no problem. What about a chipping hammer? So what about Bendix, chipping hammer? Oh yeah. It's definitely gonna run. The thing was already trying to fire up. The starter is 24 volt. So I'm not gonna keep that. I'm not really ready for a runaway condition, but I don't really think it's gonna run away. Should I try to start it? Probably so. Let's see what happens. All right, so Bendix, start. That's what I'm talking about. Listen to that baby purr. Folks, I think we're going to be in business. I didn't do anything. That was real time getting it fired up. Probably making a whole bunch of voltage right there. Well, what the heck am I going to do with the rest of this video? It's about the easiest will it run I've ever had. Just basically made the starter turn and it fired up. So I don't know a lot about the actual injection pump on a gen set, so I'm not really sure if you can essentially have a throttle lever hooked to that thing to make it where it will function like a regular injection pump. I don't know. Typically I think the governor's set and it fires up, and when it senses load it would go up to 1800 RPMs. So I do have injection pumps off of like civilian truck engines, so that should be a usable pump if I can't figure this one out. But I'm just figuring if this one makes 465 horse, that injection pump has something to do with that. So I'd like to figure it out. But anyway, I'm gonna fire it up one more time. All right, Bendix. I think I'm going to try to take this cover off. Got a couple of little tamper-proof rivets in it to see if I can see what might modulate this throttle. Oh yeah, this bit's not going to have any problem with that. Yeah, right. Nice little dome action. See what's going on under this thing. Comment down below if you know what I should do. Somebody's probably watching this video thinking, that's not going to fix it, buddy. Which it probably won't. Most things that I get into are not super simple fixes, that's for sure. Now, let's see here. So that is doing something. But it does not affect when the pump is running. So there's something else to this pump that makes it idle up and down. So it must sense load somehow, and that tells this to idle up or down. Pretty treacherous ladder that I've been using, but it's an 8x8, not a 6x6, so it's obviously pretty safe. That kind of looks like whatever that's doing would maybe be telling something to move. That's the piece there. Looks like it's pretty well straight across from the throttle lever, where a normal truck application throttle lever would hook. So I don't know. I guess this is just hooked to nothing. And whatever this is would be telling it to idle up and down. All right, I got a little piece of jumper wire. What I'm going to do is hook it up to my positive side on my battery. Which is right there. And then make it where I can heat up that little solenoid up there. I think I've identified which side is hot and see if that does anything. So I'll get it to run, have this where I can just touch it and see if that changes the throttle just by touching it, because it should just rev to 1800 RPMs, because that's probably where the top side run position is gonna max out. I just grounded my arm, so if you think 24 volts hurts, not too bad. I'm all right. So this is a hot leg, so I don't really want that touching anything. All right, let's fire it up, see what happens. There you have it. The throttle lever side does nothing. When you heat up the ground, that doesn't do anything either. But when I put power to the A terminal, that was 1800 RPMs, which standing beside an engine that's 855 cubic inch, that sounded like 6,000 RPMs. But man, runs like a top. What a score. I can Can't be more excited about this engine. I'm planning on pulling this aftercooler, and I have basically a cooling pack from an N14 truck. So it'll be a radiator and an intercooler. I'll get an intake from an N14 and then basically reroute and make all my charge tube where it doesn't go over the top, which you can see how that charge tube just routes straight from the turbocharger over. So I have some plans. Should be able to make some power with this thing. So we'll see what we can figure out. I'm pretty excited. All right, I'm going to end it here. I don't think there's any point in going any further. Good news, I'm always happy to see something that runs and runs great, revs up, smooth as silk. So I'm not going to make the video any longer than it needs to be. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.